Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah. So I would go there and we did a lot of things. They help you. They did some counseling, but they also did events. Okay, let's light up, have butterflies. The more you talk about it, the better it is. In fact, like on Facebook, what I do every 11th, I post about him because he died on the 11th. Every 11th, I do a post about him. I want the world to know about him. I lived among a saint, and like even for the funeral, we had 1,100 people show up, and I'm like, well, all these people, everybody telling me amazing stories about this young man that I didn't know that what the things that he was doing. Yeah. Anyway, so.
Well, it's important because you want to honor him, and that's a big deal. And it helps you, it helps you with your healing because you're still healing, that.
Yeah.
And it's a process, so it's a good thing you're doing that. So I'm proud of you. So could I ask just a couple of quick questions?
Absolutely.
So what was your favorite thing about growing up in Argentina?
I think my school and the sports. I just loved being an athlete, and I loved, I was a valedictorian. I loved studying. My school and my club and all the sports with it.
Well, I think that's why you were so well prepared to homeschool your kids, because you love learning so much, right? Yes. You learned that as a kid, and they got to see the joy that you have in moving your physical body, right? And also in learning. So that's a real inspiration for them. That's amazing. So who was the most influential person to you growing up?
I think my dad. Yeah, my dad was weird. Because he was just so sweet and so tender and so loving. And growing up, yes. And a few of my coaches as well. I'm still friends on Facebook with this guy, Miguel, who was my trainer, from all the sports years. But I also have to thank, I think one of my most influential was God too, because when my parents were going through some rough times, I don't know why, I would just go to the church on my own. Nobody took me. It was like, wow, where did that come from? And I've always turned to God for help. And that's something that is a gift that he has given me, nothing that I've done on my own.
Yeah, that's a big deal. So how old were you when you moved to the U.S.?
I was only 22.
Okay. So what made you move?
I think it was God. Like I said, I was dating the man that I then married, and he just said, hey, he had been here and his mom had been here, and they're like, Argentina is not a good place to live or raise a family. And unfortunately, they're having a lot of issues right now too. Yeah. And he said, hey, I just want to go to the United States. I'm like, let's go. And I think that story about the paper is that God was paving the way for us to come and succeed. And, it's a good story for the immigrant people. And we've always were very, the immigrant mentality, being very careful, saving money, and just making it happen.
And taking care of each other too. You took the time to care for that person in that restaurant, right? Yeah. And she wanted to pay you back, and man, did she ever, right? I mean, that became one of the most important relationships with her mom that you had in your entire life.
Yeah.
And it only took a moment. It only took a moment to go over there and help her out, right? And man, are you ever glad you did, because what you give comes back tenfold. In your case, it was probably 100-fold, So that's a really, really neat thing for people to learn and to understand. We just need to stop every once in a while and help. Right. And all we have to do is kind of help each other. And, immigrants are that way. they take care of their own. They rally around other immigrants, right? That are from their country kind of thing. And people, you know, that know people they know and that kind of deal. They're really close knit and they will give you the shirt off their back. They really will. I mean, it's a big deal. And that's a system that is big in terms of helping people to succeed when they get here, you know, survive and then thrive kind of thing. So
thank
that's a
you.
really
Thank
cool
you
story.
for reminding me of that story. I actually was Melissa, who I told, and she goes, "Oh my gosh." I was doing a presentation with her and I told her, you know, Melissa, our mutual
Yeah.
friend,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Oh, I don't know why I'm telling you this story, but you know, it's good to reflect on that. Just a very small act turn into something incredible. So we don't know when God is going to use us, and there could be somebody that is waiting for us. And sometimes I include myself. I'm too busy.
Yeah.
No, not right now. And
Yeah.
there could be a great opportunity for maybe to help someone or change
Mhm.
their lives, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it only takes a little bit, right? And
Mhm.
I do it because I'm convinced that the things that are trials and tribulations in my life, God's preparing me to then help people to get through what I went through, right? So I can come alongside them and say, look, I understand how you feel. I felt this way too. And here's how I dealt with it, right? I've had mentors in my life that pulled me aside when they didn't have the time and they sat with me and they said, look, you're doing this all wrong. You're going this way and you need to go this way. Right. And in honor of them, because a lot of them are not here anymore, in honor of them, I'm always trying to pay it forward. You know, last night I was on a Zoom call with a couple that wants to get started in real estate. They want to get started in real estate investing. And they went to a lady that she has known him since before he was born. Okay. So like 30 years. He's now married, he's got kids, the whole thing. And he wants to invest in real estate. And I did a deal with her a couple of years ago where we bought a property, fixed it up, and resold it. And she asked me if I would spend some time with him. We spent an hour and a half last night on a Zoom call answering all of their questions. Right. And this morning they're texting me and thanking me, you know, like you can't believe. But I really owe that as an honor to the people that came, including, you know, starting with my grandfather, right, that came along in my life and invested in me that they didn't have to.
Right.
They didn't have to. They could have just kept on walking, right? But they stopped and they took the time. And so if anybody's listening to this, pay it forward. Okay. Do it in honor of the people that have helped you in your life and make this world a better place. It's a big deal. Okay. So let's talk about today. Let's talk about what you're doing today. Obviously, we know why you got into healthcare and helping people with their healthcare and that kind of thing. Let's talk about what you're doing to save people an enormous amount of money and help them live a more healthy life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So, like I said, I was introduced, not recently, it's more like 6 months now. And so, what we have, Mike, and I'll explain a bit more later, we have a system which is really a disruptor. If you think about it, I like to make this analogy. When your kids were little, did you ever tell your kids, don't get into a stranger car? Do not talk to strangers. Have you ever done that? Okay.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was like my line. Don't get in a stranger, even if they offer you candy, you don't want to do that. So,
Right.
what do we do today? As soon as we land, we call some stranger, we get in their car, and sometimes they even go sleep in some stranger house, right?
Right.
So that's a complete disruptor. So what we have today is a disruptor in the healthcare. We're helping people. So I don't know if you remember, if you ever heard of health sharing, which is a Christian-based
Mhm.
way of helping
We
people.
actually were part of that.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. The big difference is, now health sharing does not need to be part of a Christian base or Mennonite or any of religion. It doesn't have. So what I have with Impact is it's a it's a community base. It's
Mhm.
not. It's for the people, right? It's not for a certain. You don't have to be a certain religion. And
Mhm.
the biggest difference with health share that I have several friends who are involved with others is there's no prepayment. With
Mhm.
health sharing, you have an incident, you have to go, you have to prepay and then get reimbursed. Sometimes the reimbursement doesn't happen as soon or so fast. And some families in this economy don't have that to prepay, correct? So also a few features about it is there's no prepayment. The deductible, which is a huge thing. And this is also about educating. I don't know if you've had anybody go ask them, say, hey, how much do you pay for health insurance? I don't know. I need to ask my employer. How much is the deductible? I don't know. And so these are things that we need to become aware, because I was talking to my friend Carrie a week ago or so, and she's like, yeah, I'm stopping my insurance. My deductible is $8,800. It's just me. And so many insurance, what happens, you have to come up with a deductible first before you get coverage. Impact is not like that. So number one, the deductible is per family. So let's say you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids like me. The deductible is met by one person. The whole family is considered to have met the deductible. That's unheard of, right? Another thing is there's no network. You can see whoever you want, wherever you want. And there's stories of moms who are like, hey, my son has a baseball injury, something with a knee. Let's go see some famous doctor, baseball, another state. You go. If for some reason you are traveling, you will get reimbursed. There's no boundaries. You know how some insurance, you can only see this doctor, or then you're double the price. Another thing is we have anybody who's an immigrant and you don't have social, it doesn't matter. You can still get covered as long as you have a tax ID, ITIN number. That's unheard of. Southern California, we know we need that. Another thing is free telehealth. You can get on the computer anytime, 24/7. You see a doctor, you get prescribed, you go back to bed, you have your prescription delivered. Think of moms. When you have several kids and one is sick, you have to take everybody to the doctor? Not anymore. That's huge. And Mike, we're so excited. We're about to launch our osteopath alternative medicine coverage very soon. We make this analogy. Remember Uber? Then we move to Uber Eats, right? Impact is going to be Impact Plus. And you know how many people I talk to says, I don't get health care. I don't go to the doctor. I just go to my osteopath or so this is something that is going to be great for the community. So that's kind of it. And the last thing I'll share, because I don't want to bore people with this, but I'm so passionate about it. It's like, because Impact is a nonprofit. Okay, number one. So for example, I'll tell you about my friend Nellie. She says she took it for the team because she had to go. She had an emergency appendix. She had to go. She had some complications. Her bill, just the hospital, was $36,000. However, Impact is a nonprofit. So you know what Impact does? He goes to the hospital and says, no, hospital, we're not giving you all the income that normally we go to the health insurance, to the insurances, right? They reduce, they have it's a base repricing. So the bill is repriced. They took away $27,000. So of that 27, whatever was left, let's say $9,000, she's only responsible for 10%. Because all the other 90 is paid by Impact. She was only responsible for close to $1,000 out of the 36. And guess what? That goes to the deductible. You know how usually it's the opposite. You have to come up with a deductible and then you get the coverage. This is the opposite. Impact will work. And last thing too, no one is rejected. So let's say you have a pre-existing, what will happen is that will not go to the deductible, but your bills will still be repriced. Everybody's accepted. It's for the people. So now you can tell why I'm so excited. We're helping so many people. Many of my friends from the PSI community that I've helped, for example, my friend Jeff, very successful businessman. He was paying $1,800 a month for him and his wife. We brought them down, and his 3 children, to $628 a month. So he's saving $1,200 a month just because he is now with Impact. So anybody who's 1099, business owner, restaurant owner, real estate brokers, anybody is like that, we can help. We also help businesses. So let's say you own your own restaurant, you have 10 employees. You could come, you sign up, then you get all your employees covered. Impact will help you opt in, not opt, because sometimes the spouse could have insurance from another company and maybe they pay little depending on how long they've been there. We will help people opt in. So
that's awesome.
Super excited. It's a win-win. I think before we know it, Impact is going to be a household name.
Yeah.
It's a disruptor in the industry, and we're helping so many people. I'll tell you one last story. So a friend of mine in the business, Matt, he's a realtor. He's been with the business a bit longer than me. So he was at a networking event with a realtor, and we have the recording for her. And she's like, I don't have healthcare. I know we don't go around asking, hey, do you have healthcare? How much do you pay? But we're here to educate. She says, I don't. He says, okay, why don't you sign up for Impact? This was last October. She signed up in October, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last year. And in February, her husband calls Matt and says, I don't know what you got my wife, but I need help. She just discovered she has spleen cancer.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Her bills were over $200,000. They were being repriced. She only had to pay the $2,500 to pay for her deductible, and she was done. Amazing. My message here, just like we're saying about helping others, we don't know. We just don't know what could happen to us. So my call is, if you don't have health care, get coverage. Reach out to me. Mike can help you as well, because you just don't know. And one of the main reasons people file bankruptcy is because of healthcare bills.
Yeah, I went to the emergency room, like I told you, in 2018. That flu that was going around that was particularly deadly that year. It's one of the deadliest strains in decades. It was bad, and I got it with both barrels. I was down with a fever for 6 days straight, and 2 days after my fever broke, my heart was racing, just literally racing. I couldn't get it to. I laid down. I did some deep breathing. Nothing would slow it down. So I drive myself to the emergency room. Spend 7 hours in the emergency room. I didn't have health insurance. I hadn't had health insurance in decades, right? And so I didn't have health insurance. So my bill was $12,000 some odd dollars for being in there for seven hours. And they wanted to keep me overnight, and I protested enough to where they didn't, right? Thank God they didn't. But I'm staring down the barrel of this $12,000 bill, and it was not pretty. So I'm definitely I literally won't go without health coverage. So I have health insurance. I won't exist without it. And I won't make that mistake another time again. So we actually were part of a health share program, and we loved it. We're not part of one now, but we're part of a deal that for basically it's a setup for people in real estate. But yeah, it sounds really exciting what you're doing. And I know you're excited because you're taking care of people, but also because you're saving them a lot of money. And that's a very, very cool thing, especially when you're talking about healthcare, because most people don't save anything on healthcare. Most people do just the opposite, So
absolutely, yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to cover before we wrap up?
No, I think we've covered a lot. I'm so honored to be here with Mike, and you're just such a warm person. I think in the business and helping people, if you feel the call to say, hey, I want to help others, reach out to me. I can help you connect, because this is something that we say, our team says, we're on a crusade. Literally in a healthcare crusade to help as many people as possible. So do we make money? Yes, but that's not the purpose. The goal is to save as many people as possible, their lives and their money. And we have so many stories of people, like you said, hospital stays. My good friend Mario and Dante, who are my business partners, their nephew was in the hospital, young man, strong, hay fever for 15 days. And Impact actually called the hospital, make sure that everything was covered. So story after story that we are for the people. So anybody, please reach out to me, and I'm just on this crusade to help as many people as possible.
That's awesome. Well, Pam, thank you so much for your time today. I know you're really busy, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to do this. It's been great to hang out with you and to get to know you better. I appreciate you being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience, and I hope you have an amazing day today.
Thank you so much for your time. Bye, Mike.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.